Common application, I recommend you to watch AAU television.
AAU TV is the place to be for every person in higher education in Africa. Better be there or be nowhere.
Continuez de regarder la télé et surtout sur le AAU.
Keep watching it and it will change the way you interact with higher education on the continent. AAU, great job.
I want to tell you that AAU television is fantastic, it's educative, it's informative, and it is a must for anybody who is interested in higher education in Africa.
When I was in Accra last year, I did an interview on this TV. It's a very important mouthpiece.
It's a data, it's a bank of all we need for the development of higher education in Africa.
People should make an effort to view it because it discusses very current issues of development across the continent.
I believe that the station will continue to promote the overall development of Africa, particularly in the tertiary education sector.
AAU TV provides a platform and shares a lot of information to a broader audience. So we wish you all the best and please continue serving
AAU TV,
the voice of higher education in Africa.
You're welcome to the Midweek News on AAU TV, your trusted voice of higher education in Africa. My name is Jemima Daladem Duce.
And my name is Ajiman Otrodako.
In this week's headlines on higher education, Congolese students in Tanzania, Kenya welcome Visa Weaver and held meditation to cut down blood pressure.
Now, Discovery story, Tunisia reopens longest museum to public. And our sports story, knee injury cuts Malcolm Max from Rugby World Cup. You'll have to stay with us for more details about news. The short break. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome back from the break, and in our higher education story, the 11th Conference on Climate Change and Development in Africa admonished the African Union to lead efforts aimed at establishing the African-funded Research Council and guarantee that the continent's education and training institutions are climate change resilient. And this summit, which took place from September 1st to 3rd in Nairobi, Kenya, comes at a time when the world is coping with the significant repercussions of climate change.
The Climate Change and Development in Africa Conference held in Kenya stands as a cornerstone event for the Climate for Development in Africa initiative, a collaborative effort involving the African Union Commission, the African Development Bank, and the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa. During this conference, Acting Executive Secretary for the Economic Commission for Africa, Antonio Pedro, cautioned that Africa could channel 5% of its annual GDP towards climate crisis by 2030, based on a 2-degree warming scenario, with the Sahel region facing up to 15% of this burden. Pedro also noted a substantial financial gap for adaptation efforts, estimating that Africa needs between $65 billion and $86.5 billion annually for adaptation up to 2030. Currently, the continent receives a meager $11.4 billion in adaptation financing yearly. Responding to concerns regarding limited investment in climate research and observation infrastructure, the conference underscored the urgency of enhancing the science policy practice interface in Africa. It called for an African-funded research council under the leadership of the African Union to address these gaps. In alignment with its core objective, the conference aims to generate comprehensive data-driven recommendations for African heads of state, especially for COP28, scheduled in Dubai later this year. Antonio Pedro emphasized that despite these challenges, Africa remains a powerhouse for climate solutions, boasting abundant renewable energy resources, positioning the continent as an ideal hub for advancing green hydrogen.
Still on higher education, in a recent development, students from the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, pursuing education in Kenya and Tanzania have expressed their approval of the newly granted visa exemption for Congolese nationals traveling to these countries. The exemption announced by both East African nations last week is seen as a significant relief for numerous Congolese students striving to achieve their academic aspirations. This initiative follows the DRC's integration into the East African community in March 2022.
In recent development, students hailing from the Democratic Republic of the Congo pursuing academic endeavors in Kenya and Tanzania are celebrating a significant policy change. Both East African nations recently declared visa exemptions for all Congolese citizens, offering much-needed relief to thousands of students in pursuit of their educational aspiration. This milestone follows the Democratic Republic of Congo's integration into the East African Community EAC in March 2022. Effective August 25 and September 1, 2023, Tanzania and Kenya respectively enacted the waiver of visa requirement as announced by the EAC on the 8th of September. Aligned with the Article 7 of the EAC Common Markets Protocol, this waiver ensures non-discrimination based on nationality, allowing free entry and movement for citizens of partner states within the EAC territory. Prior to this welcome change, Congolese students encountered administrative hurdles in maintaining their residency, often resulting in significant delays and restricted mobility. Faustine Mapenzi, a media communications student at the University of Tanzania, expressed relief at the long-awaited visa waiver, highlighting the ease it brings to pursuing education in Tanzania without the burden of visa renewal challenges. Similarly, Lisette Kasongo, a business student in Kenya, praised the improved study conditions due to the elimination of administrative barriers. Moreover, the Kenyan government emphasized that this progressive policy change aligns with the legal amendment recognizing the Democratic Republic of the Congo's admission into the EAC. The exemption is seen as a positive stride towards enhancing educational opportunities and cultural changes between Congolese students and their East African counterparts.
This is a good one from our higher education community. I believe this is a good, game-changing development, game changer, let me put it that way. Yeah. This move of visa exemption from Congolese students and who are in Kenya and Tanzania came at the right time, and this is due to their recent joining to the East African community. I also believe that this whole change is going to enable students to embrace the academic journey. Focus more on the academics than to, be disturbed about their visa not being approved at the time where they need to go to school and then all that. This is going to also enable them go seamlessly on the academic journey. But I would want us to talk about the impact of this visa exemptions for Congolese students and how this is going to open up educational opportunities for these students.
Great. Let me begin by applauding the IUCEA, which is the Economic Community of East African States, for actually realizing this goal. It's not only for their good or benefit, but it's a step in the right direction for other economic blocs to study. We are working with an African Union whereby these countries are part. And the aspiration number 2 of the African Union Agenda 2023 says that we're looking at an Africa whose growth is dwelled on united African countries who believe in Pan-Africanism. And if we are united, our borders are open, we trust each other, we're able to open connections and make things easier for ourselves, for migration and other things. We are currently striving towards a single African market, which is through the African Continental Free Trade Area, which aspires to open borders of member countries and eliminate barriers to people, goods, and services, hoping that a time will come in Africa where goods can be transferred from Ghana to Congo, Congo to Sudan, without any barrier. And also, people like ourselves or graduates can be able to travel to any African country for jobs without lots of protocols and bottlenecks, because we are integrated. And we have some countries within the East African side who are doing this in a beautiful side. So I want to open the circle that it is not only for Congo, neither for Kenya or for Tanzania, but it's also a clarion call which has a rippling effect for other African countries to start opening up. If I want to study in Congo, why must there be a visa barrier? These have been broken today. It starts with 3 universities now, or 3 countries. I hope that it extends to the whole of East Africa. Yeah, that's where.
What impact do you think this will bring to these countries? Let me put it that way. What impact will it bring on students?
Well, it's all like just trying to open up your economy for development, which is not only self-sourced. Ghana cannot grow alone. We will need Nigerians to come in, do something, and go back. Like how we have Africans migrating to UK and US and Europe for academic mobility to study, and they bring back the knowledge. We have also got something good within our countries and our educational settings. If you open your doors for a Nigerian to come and study in your country without any unnecessary blockades, they go acquire the knowledge and interest and experience, they bring it back to their country. So we have more of an integrated continent into education. So these are the impacts we are looking at, where we can now have an immersive and well-balanced, unified educational system where we all have mobility across each other.
I think this is really a good one, and I hope other African countries also emulate what Congolese, the Tanzanian, and then the Kenyans are doing. So health news is up next.
In our health news for this week, in a bid to tackle stress-related high blood pressure highlighted in the Journal of Hypertension, the International Society of Hypertension has released guidelines suggesting individuals engage in daily 45-minute meditation sessions, and the aim is to alleviate the strain on the heart and blood vessels that can lead to heart disease, heart attacks, and strokes in the long term.
New guidelines from the International Society of Hypertension are urging individuals to incorporate daily meditation for around 45 minutes to reduce stress-related high blood pressure. The guidelines also emphasize other stress-reducing practices like listening to music, yoga, and mindfulness. Traditional medical advice such as quitting smoking and reducing salt intake remains crucial, but experts suggest embracing newer body and mind lifestyle goals. These recommendations are supported by sufficient scientific evidence promoting a holistic approach to managing blood pressure. High blood pressure is a leading cause of premature death globally, impacting the heart and blood vessels, ultimately leading to heart disease, heart attacks, and strokes. With over 1 billion people worldwide affected by high blood pressure, the panel of experts from 18 countries advocates for stress-busting strategies such as meditation, deep breathing, yoga, and mindfulness. They also suggest focusing on gratitude and acts of kindness to enhance well-being. Notably, incorporating playing music into one's routine for at least 25 minutes 3 times a week is advised to alleviate stress. Physical activity, adequate sleep, and mindful consumption are emphasized as good habits to manage blood pressure effectively. The guidelines highlight a more holistic approach to blood pressure management, considering emerging evidence on various lifestyle factors, including dietary choices, gut health, and environmental considerations. Lifestyle modifications are positioned as the primary approach to preventing and treating high blood pressure, with medical intervention as a secondary option when necessary. Thus, comprehensive recommendations shed light on the impact of lifestyle on blood pressure. These comprehensive recommendations shed light on the impact of lifestyle on blood pressure, encouraging individuals to proactively manage their health for a better quality of life.
Please hang in with us for Discovery News coming shortly. Stay with us.
Are you a university, college, high school, private organization, NGO, individual professor, instructor or facilitator seeking to take advantage of the numerous benefits of online education? Look no further. The AAU eLearn Africa LMS is a great opportunity to begin your journey to online course development and creation for teaching, learning and training purposes. AAU eLearn Africa LMS, which is a partnership between the Association of African Universities and eLearn Africa, has made available ease to use online learning tools to all stakeholders within the educational ecosystem of the African continent. This is to enhance teaching and learning in the bid to expand online learning opportunities for students in Africa. The online platform is open and available for free to all stakeholders and facilitates virtual access to classes without needing the other tools such as Zoom, Microsoft Teams, among others. For more information, visit www.elearnafricalms.com or contact us via aaulms@aau.org or estherm@elearnafrica.com. Follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook at AAU eLearn Africa LMS.
Welcome back to Discovery News, and this time we bring you the largest museum in Tunisia, which has reopened its doors to the public. The esteemed institution is housed within the 19th century Ottoman governor's palace situated near the parliament in Tunis. Visitors were captivated on Thursday, September 14th, as they marveled at several monumental antique mosaic pieces on display. And these artifacts included depictions of revered figures such as the Roman god Neptune, among others.
Tunisia's largest museum, housed in the 19th century Ottoman governor's palace near the Parliament of Tunis, has reopened its doors to the public. Visitors can now explore a treasure trove of ancient artifacts, including giant antique mosaic pieces depicting Roman gods like Neptune and Hercules, as well as other rare finds. The Bardo Museum's fame stems from the numerous artifacts discovered during the evacuations in Tunisia over the centuries, showcasing the country's rich history at the crossroads of renowned civilizations. What sets the Bardo Museum apart, according to a local visitor, is that it displays artifacts discovered on its own soil, unlike other museums that import statues from foreign countries. The museum underwent renovations during its closure, expanding spaces, relocating collections, and adding new sessions, including one dedicated to Islamic manuscripts. Tourists and local alike are thrilled about the museum's reopening, praising its magnificent pieces and the beauty of the building itself. The Bardo has a tradition of hosting scientific seminars, workshops for young people to learn about their various aspects of culture and preserving Tunisia's cultural heritage. The museum's reopening holds particular significance as it symbolizes a message of peace and tolerance in the wake of a tragic 2015 attack against the museum, where 21 foreign tourists and one Tunisian police officer lost their lives in a shooting claimed by the Islamic State group. The Bardo Museum continues to stand as a cultural beacon for Tunisia, celebrating its rich and diverse heritage.
That's all for Discovery News, and Mami Chokwanyame brings you great sports from the world of sports shortly. Stay with us.
Welcome to the Sports and Entertainment segment. My name is Mamiko Takwanyami, and in our sports news, in a setback for South Africa's Rugby World Cup champion, standout hooker Malcolm Marx has been ruled out of the remainder of the tournament due to a severe knee injury sustained during a training session. The injury occurred when Malcolm Marx was caught in contact. The Springboks head coach Jacques Naneba expressed his disappointment, highlighting Marx's dedication to peak performance for the tournament.
The team did not immediately provide any additional information on the precise severity of the injury, but implied Marx would be sidelined for a considerable amount of time. Coach Jack Ninieba explained that it is a blow to the defending champions' chances of retaining their title in France without the 29-year-old Marx, one of the former players in the team. He was also part of the 2019 title-winning squad. South Africa has just one other specialist hooker in the squad, Bongi Mbonambi, who was selected to captain the second-string Springboks team against Romania on Sunday. However, South Africa also selected 39-year-old utility forward Dion Fury in its squad, who can play hooker as well as his most recent position of flanker. He had already been picked to be the reserve hooker against Romania. Niniaba said that loose forward Marco van Staden also had previous expertise at number 2 and might be called on to play there. According to the team, the injury replacement of Marx would not join the squad immediately as it had sufficient cover for now. There is also an injury concern over Lok Ebenchebe, who was replaced in the first half of the win against Scotland last weekend with a shoulder problem as the Boks opened their title defense. The Springboks expect him to be out for 10 days, but hope he will recover in time for a highly anticipated pool game against top-ranked Ireland on September 23rd.
In our entertainment news, renowned US serial entrepreneur Didi has rekindled his passion for music after unveiling his much-anticipated album titled The Love Album Off the Grid on Friday, September 15th. The latest studio production boasts of an impressive lineup of nearly 30 guest artists, including Mary J. Blige, Justin Bieber, The Weeknd, Babyface, John Legend, Busta Rhymes, Summer Walker, and Coco Jones.
Is making grand return to the studio after a hiatus of over a decade. The three-time Grammy winner shared his history back to music, crediting a divine call that stirred his soul and refocused his attention on creating his own music. The album, which was released on September 15th, Didi's highly anticipated fifth studio album titled The Love Album Off the Grid, promises to be a musical masterpiece. The album boasts a star-studded lineup for nearly 30 guest artists, including names like Mary J. Blige, Justin Bieber, and many more. This album marks a significant milestone, being Didi's first solo studio project since the chart-topping Press Play in 2006. In a recent interview, Didi shared his spiritual awakening that rekindled his passion for music, emphasizing the impact of a dream that guided him back to his true love. In creating the Love Album Off the Grid, Didi sought to narrate a story through his music that mirrors his own love life. He envisioned an album that could serve as a soundtrack for love, providing a backdrop for intimate moments and despite from the hustle and bustle of everyday life. The anticipation for this album is palpable, and Didi is ready to share his joy with the world. In a musical journey that has been described as a kid in a candy store, Didi's passion for music and the collaborative effort with various artists and producers have truly brought him pure joy.
Vulnerability, emotion, melody, let's go. I can see it in your eyes, Touch their souls, move their souls.
That is all for sports and entertainment news. My name is Mami Koto Akwanyame. Back to you, Ajaman, for business news.
Looking for a job in higher education institution on the African continent? There is no need to go looking. The Africa Education Jobs Board will deliver available jobs to you via our platform. To start your search, visit our website. On our website, you will find variety of job postings classified by the sectors and professions they belong to. There are sections devoted to variety of career-related materials, as well as information on African countries. All information you require, based on the job description and requirements, are accessible on the site. If you are looking for a job in higher education on the continent, use our dedicated portal, www.africa.edujobs.com. For job market updates, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at AF Jobs Board.
Up in the world of business, in a significant diplomatic meeting, Zambia's President Hakainde Hichilema was welcomed by his Chinese counterpart, President Xi Jinping, on Friday, September 15th. And the the leaders engaged in discussions that are esteemed at the Great Hall of the People of China in Beijing. And the joint statement released after the meeting was revealed that the leaders had extensive discussions on China-Zambia relations, China-Africa relations, and pertinent international and regional issues, leading to a wide-ranging consensus. Zambia's President Hakainde Hichilema recently held a significant meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping in Beijing on September 15th. Their discussions hosted at the Great Hall of the People covered key areas such as China-Zambia relations, China-Africa ties, and global issues of mutual concern, resulting in a joint statement highlighting extensive consensus. Notably, the leaders emphasized the symbolic importance of the Tazara railway line, reflecting the enduring friendship between China and Africa. President Hichilema commended China for its role in reshaping the global order to empower developing nations. In a major development, both leaders announced the elevation of China-Zambia relations to a comprehensive strategic cooperative partnership. They agreed to establish an investment cooperation working group focusing on the digital economy and green development. Economic cooperation zones in Zambia are set to evolve into industrial and supply chain cooperation demonstration areas, with China's commitment to support Zambia's investment promotion activities. Trade cooperation will also strengthen, with Zambia continuously participating in the China International Import Expo, and 2024 designated as the Year of Business Cooperation between the two nations. President Hichilema concluded his state visit on September 16th, marking a significant milestone in China-Zambia relations, paving the way for deeper collaboration. That's it for business. Just stay tuned for international news.
In a notable development, 2 cargo ships have docked at the Ukrainian port after navigating through the Black Sea via a newly utilized route, as confirmed by Ukrainian port authorities. These vessels arrived at Konomos on Saturday, preparing to load 2,000 tons of wheat destined for global markets. And this marks a significant event, being the first instance of civilian ships reaching a Ukrainian port since the termination of a safely deal with Russia for vessels.
In a significant development, 2 cargo ships have made port in Ukraine via a novel route through the Black Sea, as announced by Ukrainian port authorities. The destined wheat cargo is intended for delivery to Egypt and Israel, as outlined by Ukraine's Agricultural Ministry. This maritime shift comes after Kyiv unilaterally declared the corridor following Russia's abandonment of a UN-backed deal that facilitated grain exports from Ukrainian ports. Russia has voiced concerns regarding unfulfilled aspects of the agreement, especially regarding their own agricultural exports due to Western sanctions. Russia's actions have escalated tensions, threatening to treat civilian ships heading to Ukraine as potential military targets. The UK recently accused Russia of targeting a vessel with multiple cruise missiles while docked in the Ukrainian port of Odessa. This development is pivotal for Ukraine, a major global supplier of crops like sunflower oil, barley, maize, and wheat. During Ukraine's invasion in February 2022, the country's navy blockaded Ukrainian Black Sea ports, leading to the entrapment of 20 million tons of grain meant for export. Consequently, global food prices surged, posing threats of shortages in Middle Eastern and African nations heavily reliant on Ukrainian food imports. Countries like Afghanistan, Yemen, Sudan, and Ethiopia are particularly in dire need of humanitarian aid. In addition to endangering ships on the Black Sea, Moscow has intensified attacks on Ukrainian ports infrastructure. Ports such as Ismail and Reni, crucial for Ukraine's grain imports, have been repetitively targeted, highlighting Russia's attempts to disrupt operations and undermine global food security, as accused by Kyiv.
And that is where we bring you the end of the news, but we'll go for a quick recap of the headlines. Stay with us on that one.
In a higher education story, Congolese students in Tanzania, Kenya welcome visa waiver and meditation to cut down blood pressure in health news.
And to discover a story, Tunisia reopens largest museum to public. And also in our sports story, unfortunate knee injury cuts Malcolm Max from Rugby World Cup.
Wow. So tomorrow is holiday, and I know it is Kwame Nkrumah's birthday. Yeah. What do you want to say?
You know, it's not like any ordinary holiday.
Yeah.
Every 21st September is a day to remember one of Africa's biggest heroes, people who stood for the cause of unifying the African continent.
That's true.
And he's mentioned among big names like the Nelson Mandelas, the Julius Nyereres, and this is our own, very own Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. So it's a day for every African who believes in Africa's renaissance and also Pan-Africanism. Yeah.
That's true. So thanks for sticking with us on the Midweek News on AAU TV. Get interactive with us on our social media handles, Association of African Universities on Facebook and YouTube. My name is Jimai Madaladem Doche.
And I am Ajiman Ochodo. I could do well to represent Africa, be Pan-Africanistic tomorrow, God willing. Be safe and bye.
Hey, so this is Dishant from Unica University Common Application. I recommend you to watch AAU television.